episode 448, Influencers Are Lying to You About Their Lifestyle.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today, newsflash, influencers are not telling you the truth on social media. So we're going to dive, it's not malicious. I like to assume it's not malicious, but we will talk about why they're doing it. We will talk about how to identify it and then make your own decisions on whether you are influenced by it or not.
You have a softer place in your heart for marketing than I do. So, well, you'll probably get a flavor of that throughout.
I think there are a lot of great influencers out there with a lot of great intentions and hacks and things they want to teach people. And I also think there are the opposite.
Sure.
And so I want to not generalize all of it as bad, but inform people how to think for themselves.
Absolutely. But first, this episode is brought to you by The Whole Truth, not straight up lies or even partial truths. Nope. We're giving you the whole truth about the best place to put your emergency fund. And that's in a high yield savings account, one that gives you an annual percentage yield of, say, 4.65% and nothing less. Like CIT, who is offering just that. Go to frugalfriendspodcast.com/CIT to open your account, start putting money in there, start earning 4.65% back on that money, APY back on that money, to experience the whole glorious truth about how amazing it is when your money makes money.
And the whole truth is that there is probably a time limit on this APY. The Fed just lowered rates by 0.5%. And so that will result in a lot of high yield savings accounts lowering their APY. So if you're thinking about starting an extra high yield savings account or just your first one in general, you should do that immediately and capitalize as much on these high rates as we can. So frugalfriendspodcast.com/CIT. There is some urgency to this now.
Yes.
And that's the whole truth.
So we asked you all in the friend letter, for those of you who are subscribed to that, for those of you who aren't, it's a free newsletter 3 times weekly. We give you all sorts of goodies. frugalfriendspodcast.com. We asked you all, how often do you buy something because you saw someone online talking about it or just having it? And the majority of you did say rarely, that it rarely happens. But then the rest of you said about 1 time a month or maybe a few times a year.
Yeah, it was
so this
half.
is happening.
I mean, everyone said that some,
Right.
sometimes.
Rarely isn't never.
Right. So there was not an option for never, but I would
because I wouldn't have believed
other
people if they
is
said never.
never. But I think there's 2 sides to this coin, right? Like, as frugal people, we can often be very judgmental at people who are influenced to buy things on social media. And on the other hand, people who are influenced like once a month or several times a year or maybe even more can feel really guilty about it and say and label themselves, I'm easily influenced. I'm influenced by anything. And that's a label we want you to take off of yourself, no matter how many times you're buying something from social media, because the way people are influencing, it's intentional. It's backed with psychology. And so it's not that you are easily influenced, though you can increase your aptitude to be more resilient against that. But it's not a label. It's not you inherently being easily influenced. Resisting social media influencing is a skill that you can learn, just like spending, just like what we teach in our book, Buy What You Love Without Going Broke, at buywhatyoulovebook.com.
Shameless.
Right? So this is something that you can learn. So whether you are somebody who never does this and you're just here for the salacious title to find out how influencers are lying to you, don't worry. You'll get what you came for. Or you're somebody who is easily influenced and you feel some shame about that. Take that label off, and I think you'll get a lot out of this episode.
Agreed.
So first, we want to introduce you. We usually start out with a article, but we want to introduce you to a YouTuber because really these YouTube videos were the inspiration for this episode. Her name is Hannah Alonso, and honestly, I follow her for her anti-MLM content. So if you are an anti-MLM junkie and you love anti-MLM, like spicy,
you don't know about MLMs and some of the darker sides
salacious,
of it.
yeah.
And maybe why it's important to think twice, thrice about participating in an MLM or purchasing through MLMs. This would also be a helpful resource to understand a little more.
So that's why I subscribed to her. But she started this year doing a series on influencer insanity because she saw, just like all of us, how influencer marketing is just draining us of our disposable income. And it is increasing our impulse spending at a higher rate than I think any other form of marketing. And it's progressed from this sponsored content brand deal sort of thing into a more, I would say, it's definitely a little darker. It's capitalizing on our inferiority, our feelings of inadequacy. That's the word. Our feelings of inadequacy to buy solutions to problems that are fabricated, they're manufactured, and essentially the solutions can't be bought. And so she does these, she has about 10 of them out, but we're going to talk about episodes 1 and 4 specifically.
Yeah, so episode 1 of Hannah Alonso's kind of YouTube channel within this vein of kind of debunking what it is about influencers that we should just be aware of and the ways in which we can't trust implicitly. This one's titled The Unhinged Consumerism of Restock Influencers. So unrealistic. And shows all different types of restock influencers. One of the things that I do appreciate about Hannah's approach in these videos is recognizing that, or at least stating, it's not her goal to rip apart these specific influencers, but to look at the underlying trends, what's happening, what's being supported or encouraged, and how we can be equipped to push back against that, not necessarily the individual influencer, but against the trend itself and maybe what it might be stirring inside of us. But she does say, there can be room to appreciate some of the beauty that we see in these videos, maybe the satisfaction of seeing organized drawers and things perfectly restocked, but to also enjoy that while realizing it's not real life. It is 100% curated for social media consumption. It is there for your viewing pleasure and for the creator to make money from the sponsors and the products that they're showing. So these restock of ice drawers, the restock of your pantry. There was even a restock of a junk drawer video, which is absolutely the most unrelatable restock.
Yeah, well, they're capitalizing on the fact that these are very low cost items. So we've got we've all seen some kind of restock video. So like ice drawer, these individual silicone molds are not that expensive. Of course, you're not going to spend $200 on all of the ice molds, but this is a 30-second to 1-minute clip displaying 27 ice molds in the hopes that everyone watching will just buy one. And that's very profitable for the creator. And people will be mad about it, so they'll comment more on it, like, who's going to spend all this money on all these things? And that's never the goal of the video. The video is a little bit rage baity, and then also in hopes of, if you just buy one $10 product out of the 10 to 20 they've pictured, then that was worth it for them. And so we love to watch these. They're like aesthetically pleasing, but knowing that that's the goal of these. It's not to get you to buy everything. Or drink fridge, thinking that, oh, wow, a drink fridge is a really great idea. That's cool. I should get one of those. Like, you could just buy a drink fridge and not get any of the organizing things or the wasteful plastic, all the single-use cans. And like, they've made their money back on that video tenfold. And so that's the point.
It is so extreme. And like we've talked about in the past, we can be drawn to extremes. And I will say, I do enjoy some of those restocking of the ice. They're just pleasing. I love hearing the ice like clink.
That little ASMR bit.
Yes,
That's
I do
with
enjoy
these too.
ASMR.
All the restocks have this like ASMR component.
Right. But I think I'm not even fully aware of all the other ways that it is kind of infiltrating my mindset and what I think is normal. So even while I could watch that and know, I am not going to buy a separate freezer to just have ice in. I don't even like ice that much. But what it's doing to normalize this level of luxury, and how over time, as I see more and more of this, how much I might end up assuming there's a good amount of people who do these things, who make these special drinks, and they have these parties, and they're making all this different ice, and they're restocking their drawers, and they always have what they need. And like you said, Jen, kind of those feelings of inadequacy that I think it's cumulative. It's not an entire all at once type of impact. It's this over time that I think is important for us to keep a pulse on, because we are now, with the rise of social media, being exposed to things that we didn't even know could exist or know to even desire. And so what it's creating in us of the things that we want, whether or not we can actually attach it to a specific social media video, but recognizing the whole of it, the whole of watching these people live luxurious, insanely over consuming lifestyles. What will that end up doing to us if we're not aware of this reality and some of the underlying current and the mindset that it could lead to? Similar to arming ourselves with understanding of marketing tactics so we can push back against impulse purchases. Same thing here, recognizing the realities of influencing culture and these insane, extreme overconsumption, luxurious lifestyles, what it's eventually eroding in us, and how we can be just more mindful.
Yeah. And I think Hannah does a really great job of wrapping up all these videos and really highlighting the danger in them, in how it glorifies the perfect aesthetic. This thing that people should be striving for, to get to the income bracket where you can have a freezer just for ice, and a separate drink fridge, and a curated, a fridge-scaped fridge with all these different kind of plastic containers. It's this aspiration thing that gets us to, little by little, buy one thing at a time, to try and piecemeal together this whole set that was curated in an Instagram video or a TikTok video. But it also, it reinforces those feelings of inadequacy and not enough, and gives the idea that other people are doing this. There's so many of these restocking videos. They have become so popular. And influencers are capitalizing on that. It's not that we see all these videos, so everyone must be doing it. It is just a social media influencer thing because of how profitable it is, because of how viral it is, because it has the aesthetic and that ASMR component. That's what gets people to watch it. And so, of course, influencers are going to flock to what's working.
Yeah.
But Hannah does a really good job of re-emphasizing that the majority of people are not doing this.
Yeah.
Like the majority of people, we have a normal looking fridge, white, black, stainless steel, whatever. We've got normal looking countertops, no bins in our fridge. The only ice is from the ice maker in the door or in the plastic container.
Yes.
You know, two plastic containers of ice
that you got at the thrift store.
We don't have a guest bathroom restock because we don't have guests because we have too many children, you know, like that.
I mean, speaking of the ways in which we come across lies or at least misleading information and lifestyles, if it looks too good to be true, it is too good to be true. I think often we don't allow ourselves to kind of think beyond the video too much because we're just over consuming our social media content. But even that one restock of ice, it wasn't an elaborate kitchen that this person was in. They opened their one cabinet, it was full of all of the syrups. And then they put all of the ice into their freezer drawer in their kitchen. You know, that's not how they live life. Like, I don't even have to do a deep dive on their lifestyle to know that that is a very misleading video. If it doesn't work for me to give an entire cabinet to all syrups, it doesn't work for her.
And there's
if it
only
doesn't
two of
work
you
for
in the
me
house
to give my entire freezer drawer to ice, it doesn't work for her. What she's doing is pulling everything out, putting the syrups into the cabinet, making it look like it's all there because she was paid by the syrup company to do this and make it look like her entire kitchen is dedicated to ice making. And you know it's not. It is a very average middle class kitchen, and if it looks like there's no way you could live this way, there's no way she's living this way.
And I will tell you, when I record videos for social media, even so, at home, my podcasting setup is I share an office with my 18-month-old. So my background,
it's his office too. You guys co-work together.
Well, we share. I don't work when he's in there.
Right.
Yeah, we really do trade off. But the background, if I am recording, is a crib and a dresser that has 18,000 stickers on it. And that's it. So if I am doing a podcast that I know has a big YouTube following, I'll bring my setup into the kitchen, onto the kitchen counter, and have my dining table be the backdrop. And I have to move all the stuff on the counter, put it right in front of me, and then move all the stuff on the table onto the bench. So it's all still there, but you just can't see it.
Yeah.
And then everything that's in that video, I just move it out of the way. That's what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
That's everyone doing social.
Everything's just out of frame.
It's out of frame. You're seeing 5%, if that, of what's really going on. That leads us to the next video of Hannah's that we want to talk about, which is my favorite. And it was the true inspiration for this episode.
Such a deep dive. I got lost in this video.
Catching influencers lying about their lifestyle. And she was inspired by one video, and she plays it at the top of the video. And it's about a woman in, I think, New York City. It's like what I spend in a day. And we love these as personal finance creators. We love these videos.
Yeah. A stay-at-home mom with no budget.
Right? No budget in New York City. And so she is doing this. It's supposed to be an extreme, right? Extremes go viral. So it's what I spend in a day, no budget, big money sort of video. That's what she's going for. She's going for the virality. And Hannah noticed she's showing the receipts to all these places she went in a quote unquote day. And they're all from different days because the date and time is on the receipt.
Yeah.
And even if it was one of those days is the day she's talking about, she said that she went to Costco, I think, or a wholesale store in the morning, like after breakfast, which is typically around 11, 12, I don't know, whatever time you eat breakfast. The receipt said 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So like even the times were a lie.
Right. Yeah. The days were a lie. The times were a lie. The whole timeline was a lie. And in some ways you could think, okay, whatever. She's just stringing together a story. But the whole story was what I spend in a day. And so it wasn't an accurate picture. Maybe it would have been more accurate what I spend in a week, the stores that I visit. But so much of what we're being fed is so that they can gain the virality of these videos. And so to recognize that it's not accurate, it's for the benefit of the person posting it or the benefit of the company that is sponsoring these videos. And again, to be so aware of the impact that it's having on us to think that this is accurate, what that's going to make us believe we should or shouldn't be doing, when in reality, they're not doing it either. They just want you to watch it and they want the likes and they want the money.
Yeah. And these posts specifically they're not typically sponsored by anybody. They're not to get you to buy something off the bat. They're to go viral, get more followers from I want to live vicariously through this quote unquote rich person follow, so that subsequent videos can sell you things like the restocks do.
Yeah.
So that's another, even if it's not directly like, and so many people are showing up in our feeds now that we don't follow.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost worse. Like, I wish I saw more of the people that I followed versus every other post is someone I don't follow. And it's these viral videos.
Yeah.
And these are, before you click follow on someone, or even if you don't click follow on them, if you watch it long enough, it'll keep popping up in your feed, even if you don't follow the person. So being mindful of what you're watching, and you can actually go, like, Instagram will sometimes ask you, do you want to see more or less of this? And just say less. If you've decided that's not the type of person that you want to be like or mold your algorithm around, then be intentional in how you answer that question. Living vicariously only goes so far. And I think it's more of like, we need to look at our own lives and our contentment there if we desire to live vicariously through these influencers that are lying about their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the selling of a lifestyle is equally as dangerous, in my estimation, maybe if not more, than just trying to get you to buy a product. She uses another example at one point of this influencer who is giving a day in their life as part of the 5 a.m. club. And so selling this idea that they are very disciplined and rigorous in their hustle, and they're getting up at 5 a.m. and they're emptying the dishwasher and they're reading a book and they're journaling and they're working out and they're saunaing, and it's all happening before 7 a.m. And Hannah, took a way, way deep dive into the time
appreciate her.
that the sun rises where this influencer lives. Because in different parts throughout the video, you see sunlight coming through the windows. And she realized where this person was, even if they had filmed the content a month prior, the sun still would not be up until about 7 a.m. So either this person just isn't doing it, isn't actually showing their routine. There's some sort of lie happening in all of it but it's being portrayed as if you are seeing exactly what I'm doing here in this morning. And what I think could be that, okay, they just went back and redid some of the things that they were doing throughout their day to now show us. And that, I guess, can be somewhat acceptable, but still a little unnerving that you're going to lie like that. I feel like there still could be a disclaimer of, this is a reenactment of a day in the life. But even more potentially malicious is he's not doing any of it and making it seem like he's this super successful, grinding type person, and almost making us feel bad for not doing that. Get on my level, be better, do what I'm doing is the underlying message of these things. And what I think can happen with that is not just, oh, you told me to buy this sauna, so I'm going to buy this sauna, but I'm not feeling great about myself as a result of feeling less than, because that's clearly what you want me to feel, because you know you're living a lifestyle that most people aren't, or at least projecting that you're living a lifestyle. And so that could produce in me, I need to now go buy things to feel better about myself. It might not even be connected to this guy's video, just what we do when we're feeling in that state of inadequacy, less than, like our lives are never going to be in order the way that other people are portraying them to be. And the financial decisions across the board that I may make as a result of these lies, manipulation, misleading content.
Yeah, I think the point that Hannah makes in this video is that these influencers are willing to lie about such small, meaningless things. What else are they willing to lie about? The last two videos are super interesting. The first is a woman who is trying to get across that her husband did this like athletic competition.
Oh, yeah, that was
and
weird.
The kids were proud of him. And she said, you know, Daddy didn't come in first place. He came in second. What do you think? And the kids, all they took away was that Daddy is strong, you know? And that was great until was it Hannah that looked it up or somebody else? He actually got like 32nd place.
Yes, he came in 32nd place.
Right. Such a small like difference. Like it was still a really great feat, like what he did, even if he came in 32nd, but the influencer said second. And then the last one, this lady was making a DIY craft project. And she said, we saved all our honey bears from the month to make this craft project. And it was 10 honey bears. And you
I think
could
more
clearly,
than that, like 15 to 20.
They came from a bag, and Hannah looked it up, and you can buy all those honey bears in that bag for $20 on Amazon. So she could have just said, I bought some honey bears on Amazon to do this cool project where I put all of our paint in these honey bears so it looks like gummy bears instead of just ugly paint bottles. Right there. You get the same point across, but it was just that little lie.
Right.
You know, so if they're lying about this, if they're selling a course or a product or they're selling something for an affiliate commission, like you just lose all trust in them. And or you should lose all trust. But it makes you think a certain way about these people. And Hannah makes fun of the honey bear one. It was like all our honey bears from the month. And that's like 10 honey bears. Like, what are you eating, a cup of honey a day?
Yeah, right. There's no way someone would go through that much honey. It's insane.
So I think the point, we've talked about these videos probably a little longer than we should have, but
it's too wild.
It is,
and I think
wild.
It's something that needs to be unearthed more and for us to be more aware of so that we can feel more armed against some of these ways that we spend money where we don't want to be.
Yeah. So let's talk about what we can do. So that's the State of the Union. Now, where do we go from here? And we're going to look at an article from medium.com about why you shouldn't fall for the fake lives of that the so-called Instagram influencers sell. And we agree with some of it. We don't agree with all of it, but we're going to cover some of it and give our action steps, like how you should process.
Yeah, the article is a lot more comprehensive than what we'll cover here, but I think some of the key reasons that influencers might be, misleading us and what we can do as a response. But I want to say that influencer perfection, here's a quote from this article that I really loved. Influencer perfection is a carefully crafted illusion. And so a lot of what they are crafting, the illusion that they're selling, is again because of brand deals and sponsorships. That's why a lot of them are doing it. Or, like you said, Jen, to increase the following, to eventually have brand deals and sponsorships. So for many, this is a job. They are marketing. They are advertising. The whole thing is an ad, and it's working because there's some degree of human connection that's happening. They may have given great tips in the past. They may be
or
a person,
that you great tips.
You love their personality. You just connect with them, and so your desire to purchase from them, that your desire to want to take a recommendation from them is increased. And these brands and sponsorships know that. And it's why they are targeting so many influencers to sell to us, because we feel so connected to the influencers.
So yeah, I would say know that these people online are not your friends. Like they're very nice people, but this is their job, or not even job, this is their business. And they're doing this for themselves to put food on their table. And so you may want to support them, and that's great. You can find ways to support them that don't cost you money and that hopefully don't cost other people money that don't need to be spending it.
Yeah. Or don't cost money that you weren't already planning on spending.
Yeah.
Sometimes those discount codes are great.
Absolutely. I like on this list that, so she says, she gives a very generous ratio here, but she says only 95% of their lives are displayed. The remaining 5% remains hidden. And I would absolutely invert that. Only 5% of their lives are displayed. The other 95% are for sure hidden. And so that makes me think of Nara Smith, who is the OG trad wife. And she makes everything from scratch. Her sister just comes in town and wants some bubble gum. And this is in one of Hannah's videos. I think she has a trad wife video. And she just happens to have the really rare, unique ingredient that makes bubblegum. And she just whips up some bubblegum for her sister. That was planned, curated, bought those things in advance, because you cannot get that ingredient at a supermarket. You have to order it online. And she's a successful model outside of her Instagram presence. Like, this is very much a business and very much something you should not be aspiring to. It's a TV show. Is what she's doing. Mini cooking shows. That's what we should really be thinking of these videos as, just mini HGTV shows, mini cooking shows, all of this. But the collection is a season of a show, not a display of a life.
Yeah. I think also recognizing, they point out that many of the top tier influencers, the one who have the biggest following, who are portraying the most luxurious lives, many are from backgrounds of privilege. They are able to go homestead on a farm and create all this content and seemingly not have any other jobs because they have trust funds, because money is coming in from somewhere else. So again, if it looks too good to be true, it most likely is. Any of these things that we're watching, if they make us feel like, why can't I do that? Why doesn't what they're saying works for them work for me? Because there's some other layer happening that they're not showing, that we don't have access to. And so you're not you're not crazy. You're not odd. You're not the exception that it's just not working for. You are just being sold something that isn't true. And so I think with that, being able to identify that this is entertainment, I can look in on some of the experiences of other people because of the access to wealth that they may have or resources that they may have that I just don't. But to also keep a pulse on, is it entertaining me, or is it really impacting my emotional health, my mental health, my financial health? And are there shifts that maybe I need to be making in how I'm curating my own content and consumption of that content? And that's why, you and I have already said, Jen, there are great influencers to follow. I know a lot of times the advice can be get off of social media. I just don't think that's realistic. But instead, choose who you follow on social media. You don't have to just let the algorithm dictate where you go in any given doom scroll session. You can choose who you're following, whose accounts you're going to, what you're picking and choosing from them, and just more mindful of the purchases that you make as a result.
Yeah. So the action step for this episode, I would say, is if you haven't done a 90-day transaction inventory yet, do one. If you have one, go back through it. If Amazon is your vice, you could probably just go back through your Amazon orders. See the things that you are impulse buying and note which influencers you're most susceptible to and stop following them just for a season. You don't have to permanently stop following them. Stop following them for a season until you can detox, get a grasp on whatever verbiage you want to use, but get control of how social media is influencing you and how these videos are influencing you. And you can always go back.
Yeah.
But for now, it may be wise to stop following the ones that have the most impact on you. It might be creating the most FOMO.
Yeah.
So that would be the action step to take away. Or if you already know who those are without checking your Amazon orders or 90-day transaction inventory, then you go ahead and you go unfollow.
I have another action step, and that would be gratitude journaling. The fruit of gratitude is often contentment. And when we can experience contentment, that is the armor, the shield, the barrier between us and making these impulsive decisions because influencers told us to, or feeling less than because our lives don't look as luxurious or aesthetic as somebody else. So even if you just practice this for 7 days, every day, try to write down 5 things that you're grateful for. It's actually pretty shocking the impact that starts to have on the way we're thinking, what the rest of our day looks like, how impenetrable we can start to become to some of these other messaging. So gratitude journaling, and allow it to cultivate contentment in you.
Or make it a barrier to entry before you get on social media. Just go in your notes app and create a gratitude note. And before you're able to scroll on social, one thing that you are grateful for in that day or in your life. Just one thing, and then you're allowed to get on social media. Just reposturing your mindset before you go into that space can make a big difference.
Habit stacking. One thing I'm grateful for today is something we get to do on every single episode.
Yes. The Bill of the Week!
Right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the Bill of the Week.
Hi, Jen and Jill. This is Natalie calling from Denver, Colorado. I realized that listening to the most recent episode where Catherine paid off $27,000 of student loans in a few months, that I actually have a bill of the week, which is essentially a non-bill. I, this past week, paid my last large lump sum payment towards student loans. I had about $35,000 of student loans since June of 2023 when I got my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And as Jill probably knows, you don't make a ton as a pre-licensed therapist or really a licensed therapist in the US. But I was able to really continue my other part-time job and just work really hard to finish paying off that in 1 year. And it feels really weird to say that I won't have massive student loan payments going out every single month, and be able to like put my money towards other bills and things that I actually enjoy and want to save towards. So that is my bill of the week. Thank you.
Go, Natalie!
Yeah, Natalie!
We are so thrilled to hear this. What a good feeling to no longer have that bill, that student loan debt hanging over you, and now all the possibilities of where you can be putting that money towards. Even though you're right, it's not going to be a ton of money that you get to choose all the different places you can put it. But I'm so thrilled with you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And if you all listening have a bill you want to submit, if it has to do with your non-bills or your bills or your person named Bill, frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill for leaving us your bill. We can't wait. And now it's time for the lightning round.
Phew. All right. What's a popular social media trend everyone seems to love, but you just don't get the hype?
All of it.
All of it. Oh my gosh. I don't really look at the ones. I guess I don't know the ones that I don't like because the algorithm only serves me things that I tend to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And I will also be honest that I have deleted Instagram off of my phone for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Just for this season. It's a detox I take every roughly 4 years around October. It's just random time that I just set. So I would say, I don't know, Jill, what do you, give me some inspiration.
I do not care for the POV trend. I don't get it. I mean, I get it. I get what they mean. Like, point of view. I'm out here with my person and we're eating burgers. It's just, it feels so silly to me.
Yeah.
And also out of context. A lot of times it'll be POV and it wouldn't make sense to have said point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, whose point of view is
Right,
it?
let's
You're
define.
just writing POV. It
Right,
gives me the ick.
it's not
There
it.
you go. To use a term
Yeah.
that is not from my generation.
Okay.
It gives me the ick.
My least favorite is when people are talking to themselves. When it's going back and forth and they just change their shirt in the background.
Yeah.
I've done it before and it gives me the ick, so I don't do it anymore. But it is, I'm like, how do you record it without just cringing at yourself and cracking up? And because I'm cringing and cracking up.
My exception to that one is comedians. If they're doing it for comedic.
Because then you're
efforts.
supposed to be cracking up.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
They're
most of the
playing
time you're
different
supposed to be cringe,
characters.
too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, that is mostly who I follow. I have a rule for myself with social media and scrolling. I just scroll until I laugh and then I'm done. Truly. Like I'm on there to be entertained and mostly to laugh.
And I know when you finish because you send me whatever reel that is. I get a reel from
and
you
then that is
almost
you're right.
daily.
Yes, you can be
laugh,
guaranteed. I laugh, I send it, and I close it.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, I was done after that reel that I sent you. So
I love
true.
It. I love it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this maybe gave you some insight that you are always questioning the motive for what you're seeing on social media. Even with good social media influencers, always be questioning the motive, always be questioning what's behind the video. And then really making decisions for yourself on what you are influenced to purchase. And we love reading your kind reviews. And we especially love this one from Flygirl326, my favorite weekly podcast. 5 stars. Frugal Friends podcast should be part of everyone's weekly routine. My husband and I try to live below our means and love learning more about frugality and investing. So this podcast is perfect for us. There's an episode for everyone because Jen and Jill are so diverse in what they talk about and who they have on the show. Please keep up the great work. You ladies are awesome. Thanks, Fly Girl.
Wow.
You fly.
You are fly. Some fly words, some fly encouragement. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. If you are also enjoying this show, we would be so honored if you would give us a moment to leave a rating and a review. It really helps us. It helps new listeners find this show, to know what it's all about. And we are just indebted to you for that very free thing you can do to help us.
Yes, we will see you next time.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Siriani.
Jen, have you ever lied?
Yes. No.
You want to come clean about it now? You want to clear the air, give us the whole truth?
No.
One of my, yeah. Wow. Okay. Have you ever lied to me?
Oh. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say no just in case I have and I don't remember.
Because you wouldn't want to lie about that. You wouldn't want to
No.
lie about having lied.
No, I wouldn't.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Maybe. You've lied to me, though. I can see.
No. No. I've not lied. You've just inserted your own thoughts on what you think is truth. Only for me to clarify situations. You create your own stories based off of my information.
That's so true. I create my own narrative based on half perspectives.
We recently, Eric and I went out on a friend's boat. And Jen took that information to believing it just came out this morning because I was saying, oh, I'd love to be out on a yacht. And she's like, oh, shut your mouth. You were just out on a yacht. I'm like, when? She's like, with your friends. You were out on a yacht. And I'm like, no, we were out on a jet boat.
A boat owned by a rapper. When you hear that, you think, oh, a yacht. Because that's how it was portrayed to me. We're going out. This friend has access to a boat owned by a rapper. And so you can see how my half perspective just
I did not make you
jump
think
to
that.
yacht.
I did not make you think that. Your own brain made you think that.
It's so true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's so true.
Now you think I lied to you.
I don't think you lied to me.
No, it was a very average sized jet boat. Still great, still fun, still something I could never afford. Wouldn't afford.
Yeah, but
definitely can't afford and wouldn't afford. Let's not pretend here.
Man, one day we'll make it to a yacht. Won't be ours, but
no.
We'll make it there.
Although you only aspire to cruise ships, so who knows?
I do love cruise ships.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I hate yachts.
If we found ourselves on one, that'd be so good.
Yeah, maybe a rapper's
then we'd be real influencers.
You got to meet more rappers.